Hello and welcome back to the Wrexham Way. Hope you're all doing well and looking forward to today's episode as we take on top of the table Chelsea in the Premier League before we take on Wolves in the Carabao Cup quarter-final, looking for our first bit of major silverware. Hopefully this season we can actually win it. We came close last season in both the FA Cup and the League Cup. Hopefully this year we've got a team good enough to actually win it. But we'll find out later on when we take on Wolves. So since you guys were last here, things have gone very well, actually. We've had some very good results. Now, as you can see from the table on the right-hand side of the screen, we're up to 7th in the table, which is a great position to be in, which is actually really good considering how far behind we were last episode. So we've done a lot of good work, other teams having great results, and we've got ourselves in to the top 7. Hopefully, we can stay there for the rest of the season. Most of this good work, though, is of course thanks to Panayotov, who is now our top scorer with 11 goals this season. He is absolutely on fire. And mostly he's being assisted actually by Pedro Pereira, who is of course our striker, but playing as a false 9 this season is a lot more involved in the build-up play, and it seems to be working wonders for him and his 8 assists. So since you guys were last here for the 4-3 win against Liverpool and the big 3-0 win against Cardiff, we have played 5 games, won 3, drawn 1 and lost 1. The first one was against Southampton. After those great results from yesterday's episode, we then just sort of fell apart against Southampton. Rodrigo scoring a 91st minute winner was rather frustrating there to drop the points. But we did get back to winning ways against Manchester United. A 1-0 win there with Panayotov getting the goal. This game really should have been United's to win. They were the much better team. We had some better chances created because we have all those players diving forwards in this formation. So we have a better XG. But really, on average, I'd say United played better. They had more highlights in that game. So they did pretty well. We were just very lucky to win that game. We did a lot better against Aston Villa and Leeds, though. A 3-2 victory over Aston Villa with Vasco Sousa scoring in the 90th minute to get the win there. So some very dramatic late goals in between episodes, I should say. But the game against Leeds, who are threatened with relegation, was superb. A big 5-1 victory in that game. Panayotov with a brace in that game. Of course, it's him scoring more goals. But last time out, we rescued a late draw against Everton away from home. Aries Kamara getting the goal in the 89th minute. And so 10 points picked up in between episodes puts us up to 7th in the table, as you can see. So things looking quite nice for us. Only 3 points off Champions League places, but of course we are only 17 games into the season. That gap will get a lot bigger as the season goes on. So don't worry about that one too much. If we look at past positions, though, you can see that in the past couple of game weeks, we have shot up a little bit. We stayed 10th for quite some time, but we did shoot up to 6th actually at one point before the draw put us back down to 7th. But we've been very good, to be fair, recently. United, for example, have really dropped off in recent weeks, losing some games. Newcastle have dropped down a little bit as well in recent weeks, although they are coming back up a little bit, to be fair. And the biggest casualty from in between episodes is West Ham, actually. They've really dropped off in recent weeks. So it's a combination of us doing quite well and teams around us not doing very well. What is blowing my mind, though, is Tottenham. They're currently in 20th right now and have been there since game week 9. I'm not entirely sure what's going wrong at Tottenham, but there's not much going on that's good, to be fair, with them. If you look at their senior squad, they've got some really good players in this team. Joe Bursick is a top quality goalkeeper. If Tottenham get relegated, I'm going to do everything in my power to sign this guy because he is so good. Highly doubt any of these players have relegation release fee clauses, though, which is a bit frustrating. But they are certainly too good to get relegated, in my opinion. So if they do get relegated, we will raid them. Anyway, we start off today's episode with some good news. As you can see, the Wrexham board are offering me a brand new contract, which is absolutely fantastic. They want us to play entertaining football, defensively solid football and counter-attacking football. We're not going to do that. We play attacking football and make the most of set pieces, which I think we do with Panayotov taking those free kicks. Still, avoid relegation is our target for this season. Reach the FA Cup 5th round, EFL Cup 4th round. We've already done that in the EFL Cup, of course. So for me, we meet all these targets. No wonder are they giving us a new contract. And it's going to be a 4-year deal on 14 grand a week. It's not a whole lot of money, but I don't really care too much. If we can make it a 5-year deal, that would be even better. They want 4. Can we go 5? 4? Can we go 5? 4? Can we go 5? 5 it is. Thank you very much. They finally listened to me. Not that it matters too much. I think the only way I get sacked from Wrexham at this stage is if we got relegated to League 1 or something like that. Or relegated to the Championship and we're doing pretty poorly in the Championship. That's when I might get relegated. I think at the moment my job security, despite a 5-year deal, is very strong. But we've only had 2 days of rest in between the Everton and the Chelsea game. Chelsea top of the table. Of course, last episode we played Liverpool, who were top of the table, and we won quite emphatically. Chelsea are in decent form. I think they're a very good team. They're probably better than Liverpool, I would say, at this stage as well. But I don't know. There's also more things to talk about. Quite a few players in between episodes are getting very unsettled. And right now, Benjamin Ostergaard is one of those players. He wants first team football. I said be a backup player. He didn't like that at all. So now he's trying to join different clubs. And I'll be honest, I'd be open to letting him go. But I do quite like him. I quite like him a lot. We bought him for £4 million from OB in Denmark, and he's played a lot of games, to be fair. Only 6 this season, so I can see why he's upset. But if we sold him, we'd have to bring in some really solid replacements. Now, he's currently the 3rd best CDM that we've got. Neto supposedly can play in the CDM spot, but he's obviously our right back. Bernal could slot in behind, but I've got him as our backup right back this season. So for me, we could promote this guy from the youth team, who's 16 years old, and actually is quite a decent player for 16 years old, but I don't think he's the right option. So if we sell Ostergaard, we will have to replace him. And I'm going to reject all these bids right now because they're not big enough for me. I want 15 million at least. Of course, now he's very cross that he can't join Ajax, so we're going to discuss this with him. I'm going to say that we need a better valuation of you. And he says, fine, how much do you want for me? And he says 16.75 million. So if we go up to like 18.5, he doesn't like that. He wants 17. If we go 18 million is sorted. And we've gone through the exact same process with another player, if I can find him here, Sione. The exact same process with him. He wants more game time. I said squad player. He said, I hate that. I want to leave the club. So clubs made offers. They weren't very good. Rejected them. He spoke to me and we've agreed to sell him for £21.5 million should those bids ever come through. At the moment, those bids haven't come through. As you can see, loads of bids came through. 8 actually in total came through. They weren't good enough. And right now, more coming in for Ostergaard, which are not good enough. So there is potential for them to leave the club at some points, but I don't think it's the right thing to do. I'd rather keep hold of them, but we have got, it's only a week or so until the transfer window actually opens, so that's tough. If they meet the valuations, I will sell them. I'll happily let them go. But I'm not sure if we've quite got the players scouted out to properly replace them. In the meantime, this game coming up against Chelsea is going to be very tough because we have quite a few tired players from the Everton game and a big blow, Paniotov is out. He got injured in the Everton game and is out for 3 weeks. It's a long time for us, particularly over January, but Paniotov, our best player so far this season, is going to be missing for this game. So we'll comfortably swap him, probably with Aries Kamara, I would imagine. Actually, he can play through the middle quite nicely, but of course, Nick Batsner would be the replacement. He's currently injured at the moment. As for Hector Garcia at left back, he's quite tired, so the only choice you really have is to swap him with Rocco Spadina, I think. And Lavia also quite tired. We'll bring Ostergaard on instead, but it's not the strongest team we could put out, really, is it? That's a bit of an issue for us, but hopefully Chelsea are just as tired from their game midweek as well. Hopefully they rotate, and hopefully we can still get the job done. So as kickoff is upon us here today, we are hoping for a very nice result, and if we can get some early goals like we did against Liverpool, then it might make our job today a little bit easier. Neto on the ball, plays it into Ostergaard, who gets the ball over halfway into Aries Kamara, as Vasco now finds the ball into Ricardo Pepi. Pepi's now got a bit of time to catch up to Paniotov in terms of goals scored. Obviously he's behind right now, but Pereira can score the opening goal of the game. Now it's going to VAR and it was tight. Personally, I think he was on. Just think he was on. I think one of the defenders at the far post was playing him onside. We'll double check this in a minute. And it has counted, because we are seeing the replay of the goal right now. It says 1-0 in the top corner. I think, yeah, it's well, not quite far post, was it? But this guy was playing him onside in the middle of the box there. So Pereira just getting it past the keeper there. We'll see the offside once again here. But I think actually he's a couple yards onside. There we go, a couple of yards onside easily. Maybe not quite a couple of yards, but still onside. 1-0 to us against top of the table once again. Also, if you haven't noticed, we are sticking with this narrow formation. It's working very well for us, particularly in between episodes. Last episode it was great, and I think it plays to our players' strengths particularly. Now, there is an argument to say that we are a little bit leaky at the back with this formation, and that's true. Like, we've got a lot of players committed to the attack. Like, if we get caught on a counter-attack, essentially we've got 5 players in the penalty area. There's not many to sit back and defend, particularly if the other team get on a good counter-attack, and that's a bit tricky for us as Pepe makes it 2-0 with his 11th of the season. I thought he was only on 9 to be fair, but he's caught up now to Paniotov, both on 11 goals, and Pepe now has the chance to overtake him whilst Paniotov is out injured. But a great goal for us there. Actually, to be fair with Paniotov, not with Pepe, sorry, I think that's only his 5th goal in the league. He's scored quite a lot in the Cups, to be fair. I think it's more heavily towards the League Cup, if I'm honest with you. We'll double check it after this game. Because I'm sure I looked at his attributes and his history, and Chelsea have scored a goal. You hate to see it. But I was looking at his history. It's Harry Kamara own goal there in the end. That's a bit frustrating. But it said he only had like 4 goals. And I was like, what's this about? When actually he's got 10, but most of them have come in the Cup. So how is this an own... Oh, it's quite... Yeah, it does actually come off one of the players in the area. Obviously, Aries Kamara in the end. That's a bit frustrating for him because it looked like the original shot was probably going off target then. But we can survive this, I'm sure, if we can clear his corner nicely. And here we go, a 2-on-2 counter-attack. Pereira's been put through, 1-on-1 with the keeper. Should have done better, really, an awful lot better. It seemed like the ball just got away from him at the last moment, and then he sort of panicked to take the shot, and Onana could easily just save it like he does that corner. But as we approach half-time, we're doing very, very well, I think, particularly with Chelsea's only shot on target. So I guess it wasn't an own goal, unless... Because an own goal is only if it's not on target. I can't remember really the whole rules on that one, but it seems a little bit weird how that's one shot on target and they've only got 1 goal, unless that deflection didn't count as a shot. Either way, we're still winning. That's the main point right now. And actually, this means that Chelsea are going to go second in the table behind Arsenal, who haven't had a good result today. The win for us is good, but looks like teams around us are also winning, so we're not gaining any places and we're not getting any further away from Everton. Although West Ham have just scored, as another injury in the centre midfield is coming to hit us right now. Daniel Patrick now going to come off with an injury. I think maybe... I mean, can Lavia play there? He can do relatively well. He might swap him with... No, let's keep Kamara through the middle, I think. Potentially. Even though he's on a 6.2, it's probably due to his own goal, to be fair. Neto's on a 6.6. I don't like that. And actually, Ostergaard on a 6.6. Let's swap him with Lavia. Let's get Ostergaard off and bring Greco on. He's actually probably better in the CDM spot, isn't he? No, he's not. Weirdly. I thought Greco was like a CDM. I guess not. Let's put him in the midfield, but switch him up to a Carolero. That might just be slightly better for us, particularly with 15 minutes left in this game. And not long to go. We need to try and protect this 3 points that we've got right now. Bernal on the ball into Lavia, into Vasco Sousa. Vasco Sousa, ball forward to Pepe is fantastic, and Pepe can't quite get his second of the game. We've had some great chances to extend our lead today. Oh, and Kamara now hits the post at that end of the pitch. You hate to see it. Some great chances there. We've not put these extra chances in the back of the net, and are we going to rue it? As the clock ticks down, will there be a last-minute winner for Chelsea, who were top of the table once again in an episode? We've done it, though. We have beaten the team top of the table, and we're looking very, very strong. A great win for us there, lads. You love to see it. This season is shaping up very nicely indeed. So, results not quite going in our favour, although Leicester did lose, so we are only a point behind Leicester as Liverpool beat them. What did Brighton do? They beat Southampton. Everton drew, so they dropped 2 points behind us. That's quite handy. West Ham drew with them. So, okay, we have actually gained places on, or points, I should say, on Everton and West Ham, which is quite nice. And we are 4 points clear of Man United, who won 3-0. So, we're looking quite good. And it basically is the halfway point of the season too. So, if we can just keep it up for the second half of the season, we'll be fine. Luckily, Daniel Patrick's injury is only for 1 to 3 days, which is okay. And given that we are so tired right now, I think it's a good idea to rest these players for a couple of days before we take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. So, rest for 2 days. What does this mean? Vasco Sousa tired, okay. He might have to have a few days off training, potentially not even play the next game against Wolves. Depends how injuries look. Also, the 1 day off in between the Wolves and West Brom games seems pretty harsh to me. I don't like that at all, as more bids come in for Ostergaard, which will be rejected. I mean, I'll offer them out for 18 million and 21.5 million pounds over January, but I don't really want to sell them. Also, Greco is now talking about wanting to go on loan to have a permanent move away from the club. I mean, he's our backup centre-back, and actually he's quite good. Probably should start a few more games than he actually does. Can Luis Felipe sort this out for us in the first instance? We're getting to that point of the season where everyone's just not that happy with me. Let's talk to him and let's say you're an important backup player here and he's offended by that. I'm going to say, listen to me. I've got your best interest at heart. He's now angry. It's the best I could have done. I'm not selling him. But I mean, if we are going to lose Ostergaard, we'd need to bring a replacement in. And this is what I mean, like, because we've not had to look for CDMs for a while, I've not done an awful lot of scouting on CDMs. There's not an awful lot here. And the players that we do have scouted out are not that good and are quite expensive. So that's a bit of an issue. We might need to do a bit more scouting. When it comes to strikers, though, we do have a few more players scouted out who might be interested in coming to us. More of a backup, really. We don't need a first-choice striker, but, I mean, players like Sebastian Esposito, for example, would be lovely to bring in. We know how good he is in the match engine. Although, another player that is really good in this match engine, Lorenzo Luca, is actually not very good in this version of the save files. Like, he's at Lazio right now, and actually does look really solid, to be fair, but has not quite got the goal scoring record that you see in other save files. Although his past 3 seasons, 10 goals plus, have been pretty decent. Maybe he's an option. Maybe he would be an option, actually, at 6'7", which 6'2" in this save. What? In my stream save with Anderlecht, he's 6'7". That's weird. But there are a lot of strikers who we should probably get full knowledge on as well, who have got potential. Mostly this guy at Anderlecht, who hasn't got very good finishing, but everything else is quite good. Would be a good false 9. Anyway, that's a story for another time if those players end up leaving the club, which I'm not entirely sure they will do. We need to focus, though, on the EFL Cup quarter-final against Wolves, who battered us a couple of episodes ago 3-1. We won the first half 1-0, but they came back and won the second half 3-0, so absolutely battered us in the league there. Hopefully, we're going to do better here today and get past them. As for the lineup, everyone is back to full fitness, though, which is great. But could we, bring Levere back on the pitch to start things off with? Hector Garcia probably in front of Spadina on the left-hand side. Paniotov still injured, Santesic still injured, Batsner still injured. So, that lineup is probably going to stay the same. I said we look at Pepe, didn't we? Pepe has got 5 goals in the league and 6 goals in cup competitions. So yeah, he's more of a cup man right now. But if he can keep scoring goals in the cup, that would be great. It might take us to a semi-final. So once again, kickoff is upon us here today. This is a big game. Win it, and we've got a great shout of winning this competition. And I'll be honest with you, given our recent victories against Liverpool and Chelsea, I'd back us to beat one of those sorts of teams in the final, should we get there, or the semi-final, should we get there, of course. So I think we've got a great shout of winning this competition this season, and it would take an awful lot of pressure off us if we do win it for European football. It takes a lot of pressure off us when it comes to the league. So we'll see how that one goes. As Vasco Sousa finds the ball to Daniel Patrick, Pepe is an offside position there, and it was actually not in the back of it anyway, so wouldn't have mattered, but he was in an offside position there. In the meantime, Saliba collects the ball at the back into Neto, into Kamara, and if Kamara can just find a crucial ball through to Daniel Patrick, actually it's not him that finds it either way, it's Pereira who found the ball. Good ball over the top, but not the best. Also, look at the teams left in the League Cup. I didn't realise, again, just like last season, how winnable this looks at the quarter-final stage. Like, none of the big Premier League teams, Leicester in there, they're a Champions League team. West Ham in recent years were a Champions League team, but have dropped off in recent years. So Leicester and West Ham might be the biggest worries in that. But it's a very, very winnable competition, so we just need to do our best to try and get a bit of silverware this season. In the meantime, another highlight, only 6 minutes into this game. Hopefully, we are going to get a result here today. We are going to get a result. It's just if it's going to be a win, loss, or a draw. Hopefully a win. As Pereira has been put through, he takes the shot, puts it wide. Unlucky. Unlucky for him there. I think he deserved a little bit better than that, to be fair, but it was a tight angle. The rest of this first half, though, is not going by particularly quickly, and that's why, because Luis Felipe can put a corner in the back of the net. Great assist there from Vasco, as Luis Felipe at the near post heads it into the far side of the net. A great looping header, to be fair, over the keeper, into the top corner. Perfect. And if we could just see the game out now, that would be beautiful. But immediately another highlight in the 20th minute of this game. And can we double our lead as we win possession? Pereira finds the ball through to Vasco. Vasco, just square it. Should have squared it, didn't square it, took the shot. A little bit selfish. we don't get the goal. But as the rest of his first half ticks away, the match stats are looking very heavily in our favour, and so is the scoreline. Luis Felipe gets his second goal, but was he offside? Potentially. I wasn't really looking at the line, to be fair, so I'm not entirely sure. Goal awarded. You love to see it. How close was this? I think it's this guy, Bruno Fuchs, playing him onside by looks of things, which is pretty handy for us. Yeah, just playing him onside. Excellent. So 2-0 up at half-time, both goals courtesy of Luis Felipe. It's a fantastic position to be in. You'd like to think we're going to head towards a semi-final, but remember, we were beating Wolves at half-time a couple episodes ago. We lost the game. So let's not get too excited in this one. But if we can get a third goal, I'll feel very confident as Kamara finds the ball not quite to Pepe's feet and Wolves come away with it at the backs. Although under pressure, back to their keeper Carlson, who was a player actually we looked to sign at one point in summer before we got Mantle. Not quite sure if I put that in the transfer special or not. I might have edited it out at some point. But he's still at Wolves and making the odd save. I just hope we don't bottle things like we did last season against Brighton. Like we were so close to getting to a final last season, which Brighton ended up winning. Of course, they, spanked us in the last few minutes of the semi-final, which was frustrating because we were so closely going through it. It looks like, though, with half an hour to go in this game, it won't happen again. Wolves only had 3 shots, none of them on target. We'll also make some changes right now because we've got a big game coming up in a few days' time. Mostly midfielders, I think we need to be switching around. So we'll get Sousa and Patrick off the pitch to rest them. I might make a change up top too. And I think I will. Pepe not in the greatest of games. Sione on you come. He's not been the greatest since we gave him that new big contract, which is so frustrating. It makes me nervous to give other strikers new big contracts because I think both Pereira and Pepe have played brilliantly. Pepe not a new contract, he's only just signed for the club, but Pereira particularly, he probably should have a new one. But if the same thing happens and he just decides to be terrible after that new contract, I'm going to be upset as Pepe shoots from distance. Last act of the game for him pretty much as Carlson makes the save. Substitutes should have happened by now, though, as Ostergaard, yes, is on the ball. Into Hector Garcia, across to Lavia, into Kamara. Kamara turns into Bernal, into Pereira, into Neto. Neto into the area, back to Pereira, who gets his 9th of the season. 3-0. This game is done and dusted. Okay, excellent work. Very happy with the way we have won this game essentially and played it. We've played Wolves off the park today, looking very convincing. Looking at their player numbers too, I think they've got their first team out there as well, so it's not like they are playing a rotated team here. As Bernal gets a 4th goal here, no ways offside because this guy here, Tabuni, was playing him onside. He was on the goal line pretty much, so that's never offside. They're checking VAR, it was never offside. See, watch the replay, well onside by a mile. So a fantastic result for us here. Next episode, of course, will be the semi-final, which I'm looking forward to. Not quite sure when the draw is, but next episode will be the semi-final. Excellent stuff. The first leg, I think the second leg's quite a big difference, but we'll do the first leg definitely next episode. So thank you very much for watching today's episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have done, drop a like, subscribe, and make sure you come back tomorrow for the semi-finals. You love to see it. See you soon. Goodbye. Also, I realised the camera was about to sort of run out of battery, so I had to do this very quickly at the end to try and get it all in. Like, OBS is still recording, which is why you can still hear me talking, but the camera's gone off, basically. So that's why I had to rush it at the end, but it ran out just as I was saying goodbye, so we're still talking right now. McPhillips is happy, I'm just not on screen, but I'll go now. Bye.